Welcome back, everyone, to the Plutonium Show. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
I'm trying to adjust my chair here. There we go. It's a gloomy Monday here, so I hope you all have plenty of sunshine. I know you're all going through a very hot summer, and we're going through a very warm winter.
Yeah.
So
a little bit cheated, actually.
Almost in the same boat. I mean, we get days where we get up to 26 degrees Celsius in winter, and I hear you guys complaining in Europe about a 28-degree summer, and it's laughable to us.
Yeah.
Remember that documentary about trains in Edinburgh?
Yeah.
And the lady was like, the conductor was like, it's a scorching hot day today at 19 degrees. And Zach and I were just aghast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we have to move to a colder climate.
Yeah, we love the cold weather so much. Yeah. I mean, we definitely feel cheated from this winter. So
100%. So I said in the last video that I'd be saving a bunch of topics because, you know, the Sussexes decided to unleash. I feel like we should stop calling them Sussexes because they don't represent Sussex.
No, not at all.
They just, it's just a name for them. It's meaningless. I mean, they've made it meaningless.
Mm-hmm. They want Sussex to represent them because that's the only people they're interested in representing, themselves.
Yeah, you mean the county to represent them?
Yeah, exactly.
So Meghan and Harry, I mean, I really should say Meghan because I don't think Harry is into all that scheming PR timed releases. Harry's been busy in Asia, in Japan and Singapore, playing polo for charity. I believe he's raised around $1 million, if not more, pounds or dollars. I'm not sure.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's commendable. It doesn't erase what he's done.
Yeah.
But at least he seems to be going back to his roots.
Yes.
Because it was part of his Sentabale charity, which he founded with another, I think it's an African prince or something. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but good origins in honor of his mother.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just positivity on Prince Harry's side. And then, of course, because even her husband, you know, is at risk of upstaging her and outshining her and clearly activates her insecurity, we get not one, but two pap strolls. One of them is a pap stroll. One of them is, they conveniently saw her at a restaurant when she can go months without being seen.
Yeah, it's funny how it just happened to happen now, you know? I don't pin her down as the sort of person who cooks at home, so.
She apparently loves cooking, and from my, research into her, I guess, pre-Harry life, she seemed to be into cooking, but regardless, she knows how to stay low and not be seen. So when she is seen at the same time that Prince Harry is, getting a lot of positive publicity, you go, even your husband.
Yeah. I mean, when we're talking about Meghan, even a gust of wind can activate her insecurities.
So true. It's like, don't upstage me.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason I'm bringing this up, because I'm trying to not cover every little single thing they do, because sometimes I feel because, the channel has a lot of Meghan and Harry content that, I should be covering this and that. And I'm trying to be more picky because I don't really enjoy covering every little thing they do. The reason I even decided to cover this pap stroll is because of the blatant merching that is so unbecoming of a Duchess.
Yep.
It reminds me of her squat and her whole thing on the Ellen show. That whole skit.
That was so bad.
That was so embarrassing. When you think about this is a British royal Duchess.
Yeah.
So what she did this time is walk around. First of all, I thought she was in the Southern Hemisphere or something. I thought she was in Australia because get a load of what she's wearing in the Californian summer.
Yeah, that's a little bit overdressed, isn't it?
I mean, isn't she dying of the heat? I don't understand. Tell us what's going on in California. Is it cold? Are you getting a cold summer? Because I thought you guys were dying of a heat wave. Not literally dying, hopefully, but it's just unbearable from what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
So what on earth is going on? I don't know, but that's not what I'm talking about. I just noticed this, by the way, last night after you and I talked about this patch, because I saw this patch on her wrist and I was like, what is that? So I looked it up and it's this new calm patch that you put to de-stress. It sends signals to your brain that mimic your, when your brain starts winding down for sleep. Apparently that's what this patch does. I think it's a bunch of pseudoscience. I don't want to offend anyone who believes in this. Maybe it works. Maybe it's placebo.
Yeah. If Megan's merching it, I certainly add doubt to that, you know. I mean, anything that she's merching, I would just think, all right, well, that person just wants money and just wants publicity. Whoever is, you know, agreeing to that merch deal, because whoever you merch with is, you know, who you're happy for your company to represent, right?
Well, I thought maybe she's an investor.
Yeah.
And she's trying to bring up the shares of the company.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a little bit too high level for her, but I couldn't rule it out.
She was an investor in some coffee thing when she first, in 2020.
Yeah.
So it's not something she hasn't done before. She does promote things that she invests in. But more importantly, I want you to notice something, which I only noticed last night. Look at this sleeve here. And look at that sleeve here.
Yes, it's purposely rolled up so that she can show it off.
That's what made me want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Up until that point, I was like, I'm done with her pap strolls. How many times are we going to bring attention to them? But the blatant merching. I mean, does she really think that we won't notice, or does she not care?
I think she genuinely thinks we won't. She thinks she's the smartest person in the world. She acts like she's the smartest person in the world because she thinks that she can outdo everyone and everything, right? She thinks that even when people have evidence against her, that she can just will it away, or that she can blatantly lie to millions of people and expect no one to call her out on it. She thinks that she is the big brain and everyone else is stupid.
Pretty much.
So I think that she genuinely thinks no one's going to notice that she rolled up one sleeve and not the other.
And by the way, what you just said, she thinks that she's the brainy, intelligent one and everyone else is stupid, is quintessential Jodi Arias. She literally said, I'm as smart as Einstein. And for those of you who don't know who Jodi Arias is, please look her up. My goodness, she's a piece of work. Convicted murderer.
Oh my gosh.
So it's crazy, the similarities. I've covered Jodi actually before. And the similarities, I mean, obviously I'm not accusing Meghan of being a murderer, but the personality traits.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely those connections to be made. I mean, just I'm caught up on that smarter than Einstein, because what do I always say? If you have to say it, smart people don't walk around going, oh, I'm smarter than Einstein. No, they're too smart for that, and they're just getting on with their lives and hopefully doing smart things with their brain, right?
Yeah. Or
their education. Yeah, I don't know much about Einstein's personality besides the cliche memeified tongue sticking out, but I don't know if he would walk around going, I'm the smartest person in the room.
I know a little bit about him because of, I'm doing a math degree, and we do study a lot of like the theory of relativity because physics comes into it a lot, and a bunch of laws that I remember that subject I was doing on holiday in Europe.
Yeah.
And they threw at us this subject that had a mix of advanced physics, calculus, mechanical engineering. I was like, what is going on? Anyways, he definitely was not walking around tooting his own horn.
Yeah.
I can tell you that about Einstein. I think from everything I've read about him, he was quite a humble, brilliant scientist.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Oppenheimer? Quite a movie.
It was.
So, another thing, I mean, come on. If you're being papped without knowing that they're there, first of all, too close, too clear. Second of all, that smile, if you can even call it that.
And the other thing with these movements as well, I think that, I mean, I don't know, I'm not there, but I think that we can also not rule out her literally freezing for them to take photos, because most of the time she's the one calling them, right? So when you think about it and you think about how people are normally papped, right?
They walk normally.
They're going this, I mean, maybe everything she does is unnatural because she doesn't know how to act like a normal human being, but it could also just be that she's like, all right, I'll let them take a few photos in this pose.
I think so. I have footage of her doing that.
Yeah.
In a separate incident with Harry. They're coming out in New York and he's holding her hand and she literally stops to pose for the paparazzi. I'll see if I can find it and put it back. I've played it before in one of my videos. My goodness. you can see the narcissistic supply getting filled up
Oh, yeah.
in that moment. So no, I'm going to try so hard to put that up. So yes, the Duchess of Sussex is actually the Duchess of Merch.
Yeah.
And if the rumors are true and her TIG blog is going to come back in October, it's apparently slated for an October relaunch, then she can merch to her heart's content. Or rather, I shouldn't say heart because she
Doesn't have one.
Exactly.
Mm.
But, talk about full circle.
Yep.
You're arranging pap strolls. And there's nothing wrong with running the TIG, but lady, you shut it down to become a duchess.
Yeah.
You have been called to a higher existence, a higher calling where you could have used your platform to do incredible things.
Yep.
And, she was elevated to royalty.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
All the way down. And the other thing is that when it comes to royalty, it's not like someone was working, a normal job and then they're like, all right, I'm going to go off and start my own business. And then, a couple of months later, they end up back at that job and all their coworkers think, well, I guess their business didn't work out,
That's nothing to laugh about.
It's not at all. But in this case, the only way you can fail this hard at being a royal is to screw it up yourself, right? You don't accidentally fail this hard. Her being in this position, she owes to no one but herself.
Absolutely.
Everything she has done. And the thing is, anyone with a brain, I'm sure even royal advisors told her, hey, this isn't how we do things. And this is, she's probably got a lot of warnings, but Meghan's the big brain. So why would she listen to anyone else's opinion, even if they know what they're talking about?
Speaking of insecurities, I almost forgot to bring this up. And I wasn't going to bring it up because there's this old story, a few years old, and it's about the Beckhams falling out with Meghan and Harry. And I was like, I'm not going to touch that. It's too gossipy for me. Mm-hmm. But I realized why it's been recirculating. Because it's been in the news for a couple of weeks. And I was like, okay, this is what happens when Meghan and Harry don't do anything.
Yep.
They start digging for old stuff. But no, Tom Bower, our resident, one of our favorite authors who wrote Revenge, wrote an article for The Sun because he's writing a book on the Beckhams.
Right.
And he what was that? And he revealed the reason behind the fallout. And again, when you talk about the reason, it suddenly stops being petty and just shows you how insecure and ruthless this woman is. So, long story short, Victoria Beckham, designer, David Beckham's wife, very successful in her own right, ex-Spice Girl, has a clothing line and was really nice to Meghan in England, tried to, even let her stay in her house in, I believe, California for security, and her staff were at Meghan's beck and call.
Yep.
Even though the Beckhams weren't there. So, yeah, they gave her a run of their mansion. And then in England, she introduced her to, the high society, facialist, hairstylist, whatever. She was a girl's girl. She was doing the nice thing.
Yep. And
she also handed Meghan a couple of free things to wear so that she could, I guess, advertise them because Victoria's business wasn't doing too well. And, by the way, I'm not being, bitchy here, but Meghan did nothing to boost the sales. Mm-hmm. It didn't really work. But the point is, they eventually fell out because Meghan made Harry call David and accuse his wife of leaking a story about Meghan to the press.
Oh my gosh.
Now, mind you, David and Victoria Beckham have been superstars since we were babies.
Yes.
Since the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
They're Hollywood royalty.
Yeah.
And Victoria doesn't need Meghan's clout.
Yep.
So for a nobody, and this accusation, I believe, happened before the wedding. So imagine Meghan was, at the height of her fame, but she was a nobody a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So to accuse someone like Victoria Beckham of her stature to do something so petty, for what? But it doesn't stop there. So the relationship was already rocky, but David Beckham is apparently a really nice guy.
Yeah.
And he loved the Queen. He stood in line for 13 hours to pay his respects when she passed.
Wow.
And Sorry.
This is David Beckham we're talking about,
Yeah.
standing in line.
Exactly. He could have done the celebrity thing.
Yep.
He could have cut the line. He didn't. And he posed graciously with fans.
Wow.
Really nice man from the looks of it. And very patient and very forgiving, because Harry asks him to come out to Sydney in 2018 for the Invictus Games.
Yeah.
He arrives, goes through a long haul flight. I mean, look, it's a terrible flight.
It's a horrible flight.
Whenever we go to Europe, it's painful.
No, getting out of this country is a struggle.
So he does it, and Harry refuses to see him.
What the hell?
But you know what? From the photos I've seen and footage, David took it on the chin like a champ.
Yeah.
And still went to the Invictus Games.
Yeah.
Posed with fans. Did his thing. Promoted it. Was there. Brought attention to it. You could argue he didn't need, Harry and Meghan were not lacking attention back then, but he still bolstered its profile.
Yeah.
And he did his thing and he went home. Do you know why Harry suddenly refused to see him? And I mean, wouldn't even talk to him. Would not see him.
Does it start with M and end with Egan?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the reason? She didn't want to be upstaged.
Oh, see, this is why. This is why. Like, we started this with, why are they talking about gossip? No. That's exactly what we should be reporting on. Is that these people exist. These people are problematic, and these people need to just go away, be exposed, and go away forever. This is why the topic of Meghan isn't dying, because when you hear things like this, it should make all of our blood boil. That you literally, again, we're not talking about your typical celebrity that might be an a-hole behind the scenes. No. David Beckham, known to be a nice guy, right? As well as his wife. And this is how they treat them.
Exactly. That's why I want to talk about it. I don't see this as gossip.
No, it's not.
I see this as, look at how she is using everyone. It's nothing new. We know she does it. But the lengths she will go to.
Yep.
And then to just discard them, treat them like trash. After everything. Even the Beckhams have done a lot for her.
Yep.
I didn't even know until Tom Bauer's article. It's insane. And the rumor that she spread, Meghan, of Victoria leaking a story. Why? Why kick someone like that? Why not just, okay, you're insecure. Go deal with your issues first and foremost. Go get therapy, Meghan. Deal with your damn issues, because they are so deep-seated. It's actually concerning. I
mean, at this point, if Meghan went to see someone to deal with her issues, she'd be locked away because they're that bad. Seriously, you don't just do this in a few sessions with a therapist. She's gone. She's
I mean, you don't literally mean she'd be locked away.
I'm saying that it would literally, like, the therapist would get it, like, buy a new house, because
from the money.
From the money, that's Meghan is the sort of person who would need to see a therapist until her dying day. That's how many issues are deep seated in her.
And there's nothing. Look, if you need therapy, I know we're living in the era of therapy and all that, which there's nothing wrong with bringing attention to mental health and mental illness, but you need to get it sorted rather than unleash and be a force of destruction.
Exactly.
Around everyone, and everyone around you.
But that's just it, right? It's that if Meghan cared about anyone around her, both close, both, larger scale, and even as far as caring about the world and caring about the people that she's meant to be representing under the royal family, that's exactly what she would do. She would be like, all right, I'm clearly being a problem here. I need to, get some help and work on my issues. But Meghan doesn't see anything she's doing as an issue. In fact, she's probably not admitted fault once in her entire life. So then how do you, if someone doesn't want to get help, if someone doesn't want to get better because they think they're perfect or they think they don't have issues, which, by the way, everyone has issues, that's just how life is, then even if you locked her away with a therapist, nothing's going to change.
No, because this was exactly the topic of my last video.
Yeah.
They're perfect. And how can you grow as an individual if you think there's nothing wrong with you?
Exactly.
Because, I mean, think about it. Every time someone's pointed out a flaw or I realized a flaw of mine sometimes, especially in the army. It was this brand new environment that really made me realize, where I'm falling short, and you want to fix it. Any normal human being goes, I don't like this about me.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix it. I'm going to make myself uncomfortable. Not necessarily through therapy. I didn't fix mine through therapy. I fixed it through literally being aware of my own behavior and putting myself outside of my comfort zone until that behavior was ironed out, or that attitude, or that, disposition. But if you don't even acknowledge your problems, how do you fix them?
Exactly. Oh, gosh. It's just, we wouldn't be here if Meghan had actually understood that she had problems and done something to fix them, whether it be therapy, whether it be, considering she thinks she's the smartest person in the world, figuring it out herself, but we wouldn't be here.
Everyone says, and this gets on my nerves, and we brought this up before, she's so intelligent. She's highly, and again, I put my hand up. 2 years ago, I used to be one of those people.
Yeah.
But can we stop insulting intelligence and by lumping her in with that descriptor? Because an intelligent person wouldn't do any, let alone half, of the things that she has been getting up to.
I think that one of the reasons people assumed her intelligence is because everyone thought to themselves, well, how else did she get into the royal family? But here's the thing, right? It's not that she's more intelligent than other people and that's how she got Harry. No, it's that most people are decent enough not to take advantage of someone's undealt with grief and pretend to be talking to their mother in the afterlife and sink their claws into someone who also, is somewhat damaged and also needs help and needed support. Basically taking advantage of someone, if there had been more people who didn't have any dignity or didn't have any shame or didn't have even the decent respect of being a human being, then Harry would have been gobbled up by someone else, But because she was willing to sink lower than every other person around her, she was willing to get to the point where it's deplorable, everything that she's done to him. Not to say he's, not, a part of the problem now, but it wasn't that she was too high for everyone else. It's that she was too low for everyone else. And that's how she did it. Yeah, so it's not intelligence. It's literally depravity. Yeah,
she was prepared to stoop as low as it took.
Yes.
Another thing that's happened, which I did bring this up briefly in my last video, is the British royal family's website has been updated. A lot of housekeeping. It's nothing just to do with Meghan and Harry. But in the course of that housekeeping, any references to His Royal Highness and Her Royal Highness have been removed, which is in line with what they agreed upon when Megxit happened.
Yeah.
Called the Sandringham Summit. The Queen said, look, you're going to have to not use this styling anymore. And they didn't really listen to her.
Yeah.
I mean, as recently as Harry's latest court case and trial, his barrister said, refer to him as His Royal Highness.
Yeah, they weren't listening to anyone, even the Queen of England.
Yeah. But people say this is not enough. People are calling for, I have here over 51% in a poll are in favor of not only removing their titles, as in the dukedom, but removing Harry altogether and his children from the line of succession.
Yeah, I wonder if the other 49% just weren't in agreement with the children part, because that poll seems pretty, look, 51% should be enough to get it over the line if it was, an election.
An official vote, like a referendum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I totally agree.
See, the children thing, it makes sense. It's the line of succession. If you're going to remove the father, for example, Edward VIII, who ran away with Wallace Simpson, had to sign away his rights and also his heirs. So if he didn't have children, but in the event he did at the time, he signed away their right to be in the line of succession. Yeah. It's just naturally going to be that way.
Yeah, it makes sense conceptually. I get how, a family tree works that way. I think more people will probably be agreeing to remove their titles if the children had some way to, in the future, if they decided to be members of the royal family.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Everyone says these children are American.
Yeah.
They have nothing to do really with the royal family, and they are American citizens. The girl especially was born in America.
Yeah.
So no, I haven't seen any sentiment expressed in that way. People don't really have a lot of how do I say? I mean, the kids, we don't see them.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm not pro shoving your kids in the limelight.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the right thing to do. Definitely let them get there and let them make their own choice whether they want to be famous or not, or infamous, I should say.
But I haven't seen any sentiments expressed in favor of the children being in the line of succession either. Maybe a few people have it, but the majority definitely don't. I mean, the children don't even come up in conversation because they're that far removed. Some people doubt their existence.
Yeah. But then I'm very curious about this other 49% of people who, I guess maybe they're just indecisive, or but are there people that genuinely believe that these people are deserving of their titles?
Well,
because
maybe they just see it as Prince Harry is a prince of the blood. End of story. And so if you cannot remove him from the line of succession, but to that I would say he's basically a traitor.
Yes.
So why, if Edward was removed for falling in love, then why isn't Harry removed for everything he has done to undermine his family, his country, and the monarchy and the Commonwealth?
Which is a lot that he's done.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah. If Edward got removed, then there's no reason Harry shouldn't, because Harry's going out of his way. I don't know if Edward ever went out of his way to mock the royal family. I'm guessing not. But
no.
Exactly.
Not publicly, although I will say that he was a Nazi, pretty much. A Nazi sympathizer, friends with Hitler. But he never publicly, he and Wallace, never publicly attacked the monarchy.
Yeah.
All right, I want to get to the fanfic that Netflix has bought the rights to. But before we do that, hang on. We're going to briefly talk about the Spare Act.
Right.
So there is this representative, Greg Steube in Florida, who introduced the Substance and Possession Abuse Restrictions for Entrance, in brackets, Spare Act, basically inspired by what's happened with Prince Harry, how he's come into the country and, so far the Freedom of Information request has failed. The government refuses to divulge Harry's application. And so this Mr. Steube, who I believe is also a veteran, is trying to introduce this bill to make sure, here it says, to make sure that people who are found to be drug abusers and addicts are inadmissible, as well as non-citizens who admit to using controlled substances. So they're really pushing for this. I still don't necessarily see this going. I mean, the Spare Act might get passed, and then your regular civilian is going to get impacted by it.
Exactly. I don't see the likes of Prince Harry, seeing any of these consequences. I mean, at the very least, I would hope that it kind of makes him think twice before he, goes divulging such information, because so far he hasn't seen the consequences of his actions besides being, kicked out of the royal family. But
he hasn't even been kicked out. He left.
Exactly.
He left.
Exactly.
There have been no consequences. I mean, the erasure of the HRH, it's just housekeeping.
I mean, I think the only consequences is the media response, right? And the fact that people are saying things about his dear wife, who is also manipulating him. But I digress. Isn't it a bit late for Prince Harry? I mean, isn't this going to just apply to everyone after him
in the future? I don't know if there's going to be like a retrospective, application of this act if it gets through, or if this bill. But to me, it just looks like something else that's going to impact, like I said, your average Joe. Yeah. And not just Prince Harry, any elites are going to rise above it. well, I shouldn't say rise above it. It's just not going to apply to them.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, the law applies to people without money. That's it.
Pretty much. And without power. But I guess power comes from money.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm not necessarily holding my breath when it comes to Prince Harry. Another thing I want to just clarify, a lot of people, including, what's his name? Neil Gardner, I think, the people who are really pushing for the Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah.
They keep saying there is a huge public interest. The public is literally interested in Harry's response. But I just want to clarify as a lawyer, that's not what public interest means. When you have a balancing act between an individual's rights, for example, privacy here, and the public interest, that means would divulging the information or would doing anything that is being requested benefit the public in any way? That's what public interest means in a legal sense. But the way I'm seeing the media and journalists talk about it is literally the public have an interest. They're interested in this topic, but that's not what it means.
Yeah, no, no, that's not what it means. You're
So,
absolutely right.
yeah, so the question here, and I'm not saying it wouldn't be beneficial to the public to be more transparent with violations. I'm not saying that, but I'm just trying to clarify the definition of what public interest means in this sense. Just because the public have an appetite for a topic, that is not public interest in a legal sense.
Yeah.
Final topic for today. Meet me at the lake. Now, a lot of information has come out about the author. But before I even found out about that, when I heard the premise, the synopsis of this story, I swear I was like, this is Meghan and Harry fanfic.
Yeah.
A fan wrote this story. It reminds me of, what was it? I think the author of 50 Shades of Grey wrote a fanfic based on Twilight.
Exactly.
And then changed the names when a publisher picked it up.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty much. So this author, Carly Fortune, I believe her name is an unabashed fan of Meghan and Harry. There have been internet sleuths who have gotten onto X. Is it called X now officially? Twitter.
We could do a podcast based on how stupid that name is. Gosh, but yes, X.
So what do you do instead of I tweeted? I X'd?
Pretty much.
I X'd you the other day.
Pretty much. That's what they expect. Even though, you could even, like, the weight of a brand. I mean, imagine changing Facebook's name, you know?
Well, he tried to kind of meta it, right?
Well, Google did it. Google was like, all right, we're not Google anymore, we're Alphabet. How many people say, I'm going to Alphabet that?
Yeah.
You know, no, because even Google understood that Alphabet is the company name.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm going to be Xing anytime soon.
No, I think it's going to be tweets and Twitters for a long time.
So people have gone snooping around and found out that she basically was tweeting. She woke up super early for their wedding and from Canada at 4 a.m. And she said, oh, it's so worth it. I'm getting teary-eyed just watching them get married. And we talked about this off camera when I first found out. And Zach was like, what'd you say about people who cry at strangers' weddings?
Okay, so it's a stranger's wedding.
Well, she wasn't even there.
I know. It was like on TV. Okay, if you were crying at your own children or grandchildren's wedding because you're so happy, or your friends or someone that's close to you that you know and you're genuinely happy for them, sure. When you were crying for someone's wedding when you're not even there and that person would spit on you for a merch deal, you know, it's like, oh, you want me to wear something on my wrist? Yeah, sure, I'll do that. Yep, like that.
She reaches out, by the way.
Exactly.
Let's clarify that. Everything Meghan does,
yes,
she reaches out. No one goes, hey, Meghan, can you put this patch on you and we'll pay you? Nah, she reaches out.
Because let's be honest, most companies aren't thinking about, you know who should do our product? Definitely Meghan Markle. Exactly. Yeah, that's the first name that comes to mind. Anyway, crying for someone's wedding when it's like,
when it's literally a celebrity. It's a celebrity.
Did she cry at Kim's Kardashian's wedding? Because I remember that, what was it? I forget which number wedding it was, but there was the wedding where she was married for 72 hours.
Something like that.
I mean,
that was a long time ago. I think we were kids.
Yeah. Was anyone crying at that wedding? Because it's the same level. It's like these people, They don't get married. Meghan didn't get married to Harry because she loves him. That is not what that is.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say. It wasn't even an emotional wedding.
Yeah.
I remember, because we watched it live too, by the way. It was way before I thought there was anything wrong with Meghan. And I was like, hey, Zach, it's, in the afternoon, late afternoon for us. It was a very easy, convenient time to watch. And we watched it, and Harry said, oh my God. And Zach said, my apologies. Is it over? Should I take the rings off? All right. Is everyone witnessing the end of our...
I have no words.
Oh, this might be the last podcast you'll see of us together. Cardinal sin. So Zach said, I don't know if you remember. Do you want to say it? Do you remember what I'm trying to say?
Refresh me. I'm sure I remember saying it.
Well, you were sitting there going, she's like a robot.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had he had never seen her before in his life. I saw photos of her, obviously. I remember even complaining to your mom. I think it was around my birthday, and your mom and I were saying, my goodness, they're shoved everywhere in our faces. We're sick and tired of them.
Yeah.
That was the vibe back then. But yeah, Zach, it was your first time seeing her, and you said, oh man, there's something wrong with this woman.
Yeah. And it's just, I get this thing where you just know. Some people have an instinct, right? And funnily enough, my instinct in real life when I'm meeting people sucks. But sometimes I look at a celebrity, I'm like, that person's trouble. And that's what I felt when I saw Meghan, is that something's off, something's wrong about this person. There's just, it's not right. And here we are years later.
Yeah, exactly. So great instincts when it comes to that. You're right. I wish you'd employ the same instincts in real life, because I'm the one dragging him away from evil and acting as his shield. But
oh man,
I noticed she was very cold and very actressy, but I didn't think she was evil. I'm not gonna lie, because it's not a secret on this channel, I used to like Meghan. So it wasn't even an emotional wedding. It just seemed so cold. So why are you tearing up? Anyways, it tells you what level of a fangirl she is.
Exactly. A very, very problematic one.
It doesn't stop there. She was, I believe, what was it? Editor-in-chief or something of Refinery 29, which is a very woke Canadian website. Yeah. And they publish articles. Yeah, publication. And they wrote over 300 positive articles about Meghan all the way up to September 2021. Which means even after the Oprah interview, even after they showed us their true colors, I say she because Refinery 29, which is very woke. I don't know if I said that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the way Canada's moving. In the past few years, were very much pro Meghan Markle, and then suddenly it stopped when Carly quit and became a full-time author.
Well, that's no coincidence now, is it? 300 articles.
Over
300 articles about someone that isn't worth one positive word.
Pretty much, unfortunately. I mean, I wish it were otherwise.
I mean, I'm not saying that, from a place of, oh, I don't like this person. No, we have established over the course of years why Meghan Markle is not a person that deserves to be liked. So 300 articles of just bootlicking, right? Yep. What else can you say? This person has done nothing positive in their entire life, and you wrote over 300 articles. That blows my mind. And, look, we've all been there. You go to the internet, you click on an article, and you wanted one fact, one piece of information, and instead you got a half-assed novel on whatever it was, when you just wanted the answer to this question. So writing crap on the internet is not a normal thing. Is a normal thing. But 300 on the same person who is
Well, again, it shows you the level of fangirl.
Yeah.
So that's why this is way too much of a coincidence. So she writes this book. Now, I'm not saying that Meghan and Harry or Meghan colluded with Carly to write the book. I genuinely believe, unless proven otherwise, that Carly is just so much of a fan that she, just by herself, came up with the fanfic came up with the story.
I don't think she needs any encouragement from what I've heard so far, and I haven't heard much about her.
Well, the premise of the book is basically two, a man and a woman in their 30s, which is when Meghan and Harry met.
Yep.
In Toronto, which is where Meghan lived, and they had their love affair there. They meet. One of them, I believe the woman though, grew up with the trauma of losing her mother in a car crash. And there are a lot of references to drug use,
right?
Prince Harry. And there are just too many parallels.
Yeah.
Therapy, mental health, which, look, again, I'm not saying that books shouldn't be shining a light on these issues.
Yeah.
But the parallels.
Yeah, no, this isn't a book written to express creativity, clearly. This is the...
Well, we haven't read it.
Yeah.
It might be a well-written book. I'm just talking about the premise.
Yeah, I mean, well, based on the premise then, yeah.
Because, Spare was a very well-written book. But doesn't mean that the substance was good, but the grammar, literally the literature, the writing was literally good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about this book, and I will not be reading it. But the news was that Meghan and Harry bought the rights to the book for £3 million. It very, very quickly was corrected to Netflix bought the rights, not Meghan and Harry. For Meghan and Harry to produce a movie based on the book. I
mean, here we are talking about the quality of a book that neither of us are going to read, and trying not to be too harsh on it. But I feel like Netflix buying the rights to it tells you everything you need to know based on the quality of Netflix shows,
Yeah. No, Netflix has taken such a nosedive. My goodness. I also forgot here on my notes, it says she was a Suits fan, Carly.
Oh, I bet she was.
The thing is, look, connections aside, one more connection, sorry. Carly is represented by the same agency, WME, William Morris Endeavor, as Meghan Markle.
Right.
So that's one more connection where it's like, okay, it's too much to be just a coincidence.
Yeah.
But is it going to go anywhere with the Hollywood strikes? No one's going to be making anything with writers and actors striking. And the last I heard, it's been described as, there's no end in sight.
Yeah, that really doesn't surprise me, because the people who are in charge making all the money, they have enough money to retire for, probably hundreds of generations. And so to them, they never needed to make money from the next movie. So they don't care when the next movie comes. They're just hoping that the people who made them that money will eventually fold because they need to pay rent.
That is exactly what they've said. I think we brought this up in a podcast.
Yes.
That is literally what they're waiting for, which is horrendous. I don't think this is going to go anywhere, at least not anytime soon.
I mean, I hope not, because Netflix doesn't need any more flops. Well,
it seems that that's all they're good at producing right now. I mean, to be fair, Meghan and Harry's reality show, orchestrated reality show, as Meghan likes to say, wasn't a flop per se, because it brought in the views, but
I mean, the same way that a car crash on the side of the road makes all the traffic stop because everyone wants to see what happened in the car crash.
Well, from memory, I even remember the ratings were really low for that show. I mean, the views were in, but the reviews were really bad.
Yeah.
So fanfic. I mean, the way I see it, Harry's definitely not a reader.
Nope.
He's definitely not the one reading this book. So if anyone's read it and gone, yep, I'm going to make this into a movie about me.
Yeah.
It's definitely Meghan. I think because it's Meghan, it just shows a lack of originality, because she took a story that mirrors her life.
Yeah.
With Harry. And I'm just like, okay, where's the creativity there? And also people are saying, oh, she's probably going to want to star in it. I mean, it says a couple in their 30s. Meghan is, into her 40s now. So I don't think she'd be the right choice.
Even if the age, even if you wanted to get her to do it, don't you need a good actress?
Exactly.
That's the first thing I thought. It's like, don't you want someone to actually properly represent you? But Meghan's the smartest person in the room, which means she knows everything there is to know about acting.
Oh, yeah.
So clearly there's only one person who could represent Queen Meghan.
Yeah.
Man, I don't even think Meghan read the book. I think it maybe someone threw it by her and went, hey, by the way, there's this story. There's this super fan that really loves you. And she's kind of lacking in that now that, the bandwagon's happened and everyone's woken up to just how horrible of a person she is.
Yeah.
So she probably went, yeah, super fan, where other people would go, why does this person like me this much? This is a bit of a, especially if they've never met, hey, the warning signs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Or there's nothing wrong with being a super fan as long as you're not dangerous. But yeah, I can see how some people might be less eager to work with someone who is too into them.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But that's exactly what Meghan wants.
Absolutely.
She wishes every one of us was like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be her utopia.
It would be. And that's never going to happen.
No, not with that personality, unless she did a personality overhaul and sought the help that she so desperately needs.
Yeah, that's never going to happen either.
So I think that's it.
Yeah.
Hope you all enjoyed this episode. It remains to be seen whether, Zach will stick around after I called him Harry.
I'll be here. I'm going to go read a book just to, Harry doesn't read books. I read books. Yeah.
So, Anything else you want to say before we head off?
No, I think we covered everything to cover. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us for yet another episode. And we will see you in the next one.
See you then.
Bye-bye.